It's your boy Warren B. Author, the Pimp God. What your mama should have told you. This is Master Your Vibration. This is the mini audiobook for a Patreon subs. Master Your Vibration. I want to start this out by asking a question. How do you feel? In the game of boxing, they have something known as your carry-around weight. The weight that you normally sit at just comfortably. But in this game, I want to introduce another concept. Your carry-around emotion. In other words, there's a fundamental emotional state of being that you generally carry around. It is based upon your unconscious reality. The unconscious mind, from my understanding, is the body which houses emotion based upon past experiences. Some men throughout life have been sexually attractive to females. And so from a young age, compliments and kisses and what have you have come from women, even older women. And so it sort of develops a certain kind of confidence in a man with respect to the opposite sex, especially when it comes to sexual attraction. Almost everything that a woman does is clit related. There's a sexual component to mostly everything that a woman does. The problem for a man is that if women find him sexually attractive, or very sexually attractive, as a, if his confidence is based upon what someone else thinks and feels about him, that's a compromising position to be in. It's very compromising because the same people who see you in this light or that light could, for matters of their own interest, treat you like the opposite. There's a danger in a man's carry-around emotion being based upon anybody else outside of him. Particularly with a woman, when a man's esteem is based upon his woman and how she sees him or treats him, this is a power that she should never have. Within a man is a feminine principle called his anima. And the anima, the inner feminine, the dark dot inside of the light part of the yin and yang symbol, that is your anima. That is your inner feminine. And all men have that. The confidence that you should have in yourself should come from her, because she's always in your corner, regardless of how you look, regardless of how tall you are or how much money you make. And she has the keys to whatever you want in life. So a man should get his motivation and his confidence and his support, his deepest level of emotional support from inside of him. No woman required. When a man begins to depend on his wife or his girlfriend for that kind of support, it's in a sense him exchanging his reliance on his inner anima for her. And that is where your life is literally in that woman's hands. Your life should never be in her hands, not in that way. Ever. It should be a self-reliance when it comes to your esteem, always. Because that inner feminine is a part of you. It is you. It is the counterbalance of your fundamental energy. It's important for a man to carry around emotion, to be something that inspires him to be and feel like his best. And your inner anima always wants you to be and feel like your best self. She doesn't get on a period. She doesn't have an attitude. She doesn't waver in her emotions like all women. She's always in your corner, and she always has the right answer for you when you're making major decisions in life. When I moved to the DMV, I was sitting in a library working on an audiobook. And I don't know if it was when I finished that audiobook or when it was whatever, but my inner anima said, it's time for you to go to DC. And that's what I did. And I left that evening, packed and rolled. I left a bag of my belongings with a friend. And I rolled out. A friend that I trusted. And I recently went back to Cleveland. I ain't tell nobody. Nobody in my family knew. To get those things. And they were intact like they were. And I went back and I copped those things. And so, and I, like a thief in the night came on back. But I trusted my anima. I went from knowing no one in the DMV and staying in a shelter to, in a short while, linking up with one of the top hair designers in the DMV, award-winning. And then I moved to Silver Spring, which I like. I like Silver Spring. And I lived near downtown Silver Spring. And then I went to, and now I'm out in Tysons. Second richest county in the United States. And I did that inside of 2 years. I got here in the end of March. In the end of March, 2 years ago. And so now we're in April. So I've officially been here 2 years. And inside of 2 years, because I've been in Tysons almost a year. Okay, so I'm saying inside of a year, I was already in the second richest county in the United States. That's what happens when you trust your animal. The problem with feeling good because your wife, girlfriend, or mother gasses you up is that those same entities also have the power to make you feel like shit. Your carry around weight should always be solid. Well, what I mean is your carry around emotion. I'm using that as a, it should always be solid. And this is what helps people to be able to depend on you in certain ways, for you to have a certain energy, a certain way about you, the way you handle yourself. That's key. Because you have a consistency about you. Never trade in your dependency on your inner feminine for any woman outside of you. Or anyone or anything. There's a black woman that I know who openly admits to me and Dr. E. Harlan that she's disappointed in her husband in this way. Whenever he gets around white people, he smiles and laughs and giggles too much. He's trying to be accepted by them. And she said it disgusts her. Whereas being around us, she knows how straightforward we are. We own our time. We are sovereign. Excuse me. And I've owned my time for a long time. Even when I was in Cleveland. And some people dislike you because you have a certain air about yourself. Because you don't have that slave air about you. White people sometimes test that reality. They want to test your unconscious. They just by coming around. And when their presence is there, you start shucking and jiving and tap dancing and mystery show singing. And they're watching. They're always watching. Who are you when they're around? Let not your carry around emotion ever depend on anyone else outside of yourself. You have to be stingy with your emotions. So how do you get there? Name someone who you truly look up to and respect. Someone who every time you see them, they have a certain air about them, je ne sais quoi about them. And it doesn't have to be an actual personality. It could be a character in a movie. Because a good actor taps into the spirit of the character. It's not just the techniques. See, Denzel said that my biggest technique, my greatest skill in acting is not any of the stuff that I learned in acting school. He said my biggest skill in acting is embodying the spirit of my character, letting that take over. Denzel was not Denzel playing Malcolm X. Malcolm X was playing Denzel. He was playing himself through him. Denzel allowed himself to be the passive principal and let the spirit take over. That's an ancient African technique. In ancient Africa, in certain rituals, certain spiritual shamans or what have you, they would allow the spirit of a god or deity that they respect in that tribe to embody them. And so for a while they're able to celebrate with the spirit of that entity in their presence. This is true stuff. This is real stuff. And that person becomes possessed and do not remember what happened during that time. So name someone that you truly look up to and respect. Even if it's a character, somebody that just has a character, a level of success, a level of manhood and presence that you truly respect. Someone positive though, for the most part. Now sometimes that's tricky because in society they may be seen as a bad person, but in truth they're not really a bad person, But hopefully it's not someone who is governed by anxiety and competitiveness, but someone who has an authentic self. Okay, name that person. Okay. Now imagine that what they feel about themselves is a feeling that you can define as you look at that picture, as you look at that scene in that movie that depicts them in their grandeur, or all of the scenes in the movie of where this character is, and you see the way that they are and the way that they carry themselves. There is a spirit that's there, and there is a vibration that's there. Mastering your vibration. You could change your life simply by changing your vibration. Define how they feel about themselves. Just look at them, watch them, look at the picture. Ask yourself, how does he feel about himself? How does he just feel? What is his carry around emotion? And as you look at that and just use your intuition to tap into the spirit of that character, once you can define it specifically, they feel like this, they feel like that, they feel like this, they feel like that, whatever it is, but tap into it. Now, and it should be something that is something that you want to feel like. It's not something that you're forcing. It is. They have that energy already. Define that. And you don't have to act like them. Just embody that energy by tapping into the feeling that is that person's carry-around emotion. Once you can define it, then you have acknowledged it and you recognize it. You can take on that energy too. You can embody that feeling. And never allow someone else to affect your carry-around emotion. Adopt that feeling for yourself. And never allow anyone to lay a finger on the remote control to your inner feeling box or mechanism. Oh, your wife left you. Okay. How would a person with your carry-around emotion handle it? See, in the pimp game, a pimp knows that a woman comes into his life leaving. And pimps are human. So they do love. It's the dudes that's trying to portray pimping in a certain way. Yeah, you know, love ain't got nothing to do with this pimping. It's this and that. But the truth is, a pimp does hurt when he loses his woman. If he's human and he cares about her, what makes me develop feelings for a woman to a degree is if she's handling my business well. That makes me love a woman. As long as she's handling my business properly, I got love for Bella Bliss. I do. I genuinely have genuine love for her. Am I in love? No, I'm not saying. I'm saying that I wouldn't want anything, bad or negative to happen to her. Like any woman, if, I'm gonna hold her accountable. You dig? But, I love her. Love comes easy for me. Because you want to operate from a place of love. That comes easy. You can get love easy for me. I'm not talking about in love, but if you want a genuine friend, I'm the first person you need to call. As long as you're genuine and I could get the same thing back. So decide. You decide. I don't care what your past experiences have been housed in your unconscious mind. Let's replace that. And it doesn't make sense to get rid of or try to get rid of those emotions or feelings or that spirit or that energy that you've embodied up till now and have nothing else to replace it. There is one way, this is esoteric wisdom. Sit in a bathroom with the light off and the door closed. Especially at night. It's pitch black in there. There's only one way to get rid of darkness, and that's to turn on the lights. Choose the light. Choose the light. Choose your best self. That's the light. That's the best way to get rid of the darkness of your past experiences. Remember, when you stand in front of a mirror and you're looking at yourself, right? The reflection staring back at you is not real. When you move your hand, that reflection moves its hand, arms, your head, angles. But that's not real. What's real, now touch yourself. So you can't touch that person in the mirror, but you can touch yourself. That's why a lot of women don't grow, because they are blaming their reflection instead of them for creating it. They're blaming their man, their baby daddy, their this and their that, when they don't realize that what's creating their experiences in life is them. They should be touching themselves. Blame starts with yourself. Responsibility starts with yourself. Your experiences in life are only your reflection, and you are what's creating it. Make that self your best self. Next, go where you feel inspired. If you want tulips, but you got horrible ground, you're going to have to do some work to get that ground right. Or you're going to have to put those tulip seeds in an area that has good soil. Cleveland was not good enough soil for me at a certain point. So my thoughts were not best suited in that environment. My seed thoughts. So you have to go where you feel inspired. Iceberg Slim said that when he moved to California, his writing really took off because he said it's something about Cali and his energy that it charges him. And me being out in Tyson's, it charges my soul. It charges my spirit. Yeah, I know the history, but that's kind of fly too. It's kind of fly too though, because the energy in the particular area where I am, it motivates my being from the inside out. So my ideas are coming from an inspired place because I'm in an incubator that supports them. If you're surrounded by negativity, remove yourself from that and go where you feel inspired. And also surround yourself with people, because that's also part of your environment that keep you feeling inspired. Don't share your dreams and ideas with people that represent negativity. Thank you for listening. It's your boy Warren B. Peace.